Hello and welcome to my Essentials modding guide for Fallout New Vegas in 2022. This modding guide will show you not only how to install and mod New Vegas to make it much more stable and much better to run, this will also go over how to install Tale of Two Wastelands, as well as come with a recommendation mod list for the mods that I would say you should install if you're going to play the game. Good for first time playthroughs, good for latter time playthroughs, and all the in between. If you want to follow these steps, I'll get you to the point where you'll have New Vegas running much better, much more stable than before, as well as have the ability to play all of Fallout 3 within Fallout New Vegas. So without further ado, let's just get into it. The first thing you're going to want to go ahead and do is buy a copy of Fallout New Vegas. That may seem a bit obvious. Personally, I recommend going with GOG, as you can install an offline version that never auto-updates, where on Steam, recently they just put out an update that broke a bunch of mods and was super duper annoying. Don't recommend the Steam version, kind of mad at that. I got it on GOG just for this video and just so I could divorce it from the Steam version. Heavily recommended, go with that. Go ahead and buy it and launch the game at least once so that you get a fresh INI install so that we can move forward from there. Now, if you're going to want to install Tale of Two Wastelands, stick around now. If you're not going to want to install Tale of Two Wastelands, you're going to want to skip ahead a little bit from here, as all of the mods that I'm going to install for Tale of Two Wastelands for stability are mods I recommend installing otherwise without Tale of Two Wastelands. So even if you don't install Tale of Two Wastelands, you're going to want all these mods just so the game runs better anyways. If you do install Tale of Two Wastelands, then hey, just follow this video all the way through. For those of you who don't know, Tale of Two Wastelands is essentially a mod that allows you to run Fallout 3 inside of Fallout New Vegas. It allows you to travel from the capital wasteland to New Vegas or vice versa, doing all the DLC and everything in between, and gives a couple of the bonuses that come from New Vegas and puts them into Fallout 3, like better crafting, ammo creation, and stuff of that nature. Step 1 is simply going to be download and install Mod Organizer 2. Just go ahead and hit the zip file here and go ahead and get that installed. I would heavily recommend using Mod Organizer 2. You can kind of use whatever you want, but Tale of Two Wastelands recommends you use Mod Organizer 2, and Mod Organizer 2 was made by the Nexus Mod Manager team that left when they switched to Vortex. Personally, I'm not a fan of Vortex, but to each their own. Within saying that, however, this video will go over how to install and use Mod Organizer 2 exclusively and not Nexus at all. Once you install the setup for Mod Organizer, you're going to go ahead and accept the agreement. Pick the folder you want to install it to. Go ahead and just leave all the plugins there. Leave this as well, and make a shortcut if you want one. Then just let it install. Done. We're going to go ahead and launch Mod Organizer here as well. Once Mod Organizer 2 is installed, you can launch it via the shortcut. Now mine's default opening to my Oblivion save, but if you have something else you want to do, you come up here to open the Instance Manager. Here you can create a new instance and use many different kinds of games. This will go through everything you have installed and pick from there. Since I'm going to be installing Tale of Two Wastelands, I'm going to use the Tale of Two Wastelands one, but honestly New Vegas and TTW are exactly the same. There's not any real difference between using either one. Since I'm going to install Tale of Two Wastelands, I'm just going to use TTW. You can customize a name for it if you want, as well as doing it this way will give its Mod Organizer folders their own specific place for if you install mods for Tale of Two Wastelands separate from your actual New Vegas install. And then you just finish it to launch the new instance. Alright, once this is open, it'll automatically go ahead and check all of the DLC for Fallout New Vegas to make sure they're all checked off, as you will need all of them to make TTW work properly. Now, from here, you can do many things. First thing I'm going to do is just go to the settings and change the theme. You don't really have to do that. I just like the dark theme a bit more. If you want it to change to a different instance, mod Fallout 3 or Oblivion or Fallout 4, for instance, you can just come in here and quickly swap to them. If you come here, you can pick a mod that you have installed somewhere else, like your downloads folder, which we'll go over later. From here, you can also set it up to link it to the Nexus, which if you come to the settings in Nexus, you can actually link it up so that it will have your full account and user ID and everything, so that you can click install to Nexus Mod Manager and it'll go straight to here. You can also sort if you have multiple things installed, which will reorganize all of these in the best way possible with loot. You can also pick extra files and stuff like that. You can make backups, you can create and restore backups, all kinds of stuff. If you download something, it just comes to your download area. You can see all the saves you have for the game right in here. You can see your extra data, your archives, and everything. You can even create a shortcut version of the game if you wanted to, say, have an extra one. Say I wanted to launch this Tale of Two Wastelands, I can make a shortcut to the desktop, and you see it right here, Tale of Two Wastelands. You can also come in here to do different Fallout launchers, different styles and stuff like that, which is where we will do xNVSE later on. Make sure you have ran New Vegas at least once beforehand, and then you can just click run from here to launch it, or just click the shortcut and it will automatically launch it once you have the mods installed. In order to go ahead and remove mouse acceleration, open your INI files. Go to your Fallout INI and come down to your controls section. Hit enter and add the stuff in the document that removes all mouse acceleration from the game. Go ahead and hit save, and it's as simple as that. You've gotten rid of the mouse acceleration. Now we're going to install Tale of Two Wastelands. Come to the downloads page on taleoftwowastelands.com, and we're going to go ahead and get the 3.31 installer. While we're here, go ahead and download the 3.31 hotfix as well. I would recommend making a folder and just dumping all the files in there for use later. Go ahead and launch TTW install. It should automatically find your installed version of Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas Game of the Year editions. Remember to make a new profile for Tale of Two Wastelands. Definitely didn't forget to do, and I'm not adding in now because I realized I forgot. Then from there, find that file installation in here. If you're having trouble trying to figure out where your Tale of Two Wastelands should be installed, simply go to your mod organizer, open the tools, settings, and you can go to your paths. From here, just click on mods and it'll give you the name of where you need to install it. In order to get the correct folder for installing Tale of Two Wastelands, you want to open your mods folder, and from in here, go ahead and make something called either TTW or Tale of Two Wastelands, and then you'll want to install it to that folder within your mods folder from your local. From there, just go ahead and hit install and give it a few. It takes a little while. It is heavily CPU intensive. It can take anywhere between 10 minutes and like 4 hours. So enjoy. All right, I have an i7-8700 and it still took me around an hour to get that fully done. You also need to install these mods, and we'll go over that in a few, but for now, just go ahead and exit out of here. Now from here, you open Mod Organizer 2. When you open it up, you should just see Tale of Two Wastelands, TTW. Now, mine, I actually messed up. What you're going to do in here is come to the mods folder here, and you're actually going to want to put TTW in its own folder in here, which I messed up on the previous thing. But if you're having any issues, that's what you do. So it should look like this in the files here within TTW mods. And then you just have as a check mark, check that there, and that activates the mod. And then bam, you'll be able to see there is Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 3, and all of the DLC right there. That is done with the installer. Now you just need to install a bunch of mods for it. The first mod we're going to go ahead and install for this is actually going to be the Tale of Two Wastelands update. So once you go ahead and download the hotfix, just double tap on it here. It'll say quick install. We're going to call it hotfix, so it's differentiated. Hit OK. Installs, check mark that, and you're good to go. Now you can see in here it has a dependency where it needs this to work, but it overwrites the loose files from here, and it fixes all the bugs there were. So we're good there. Once you have TTW installed, open up your INI editor, come here, go to your Fallout Custom INI, highlight everything, and replace it with the text that was written before. This is a custom version of the INI which will allow the game to have better performance and stability. You will have to have this installed to do more things later on. Just go ahead and hit save and close out. So, if you're just joining us, welcome back. If you skipped the Tale of Two Wastelands section, if you didn't, welcome back again. So now from here, we're going to go ahead and install a bunch of mods that I would consider to be essential. If you are going to be playing Fallout New Vegas, Tale of Two Wastelands or not, you absolutely need to have these mods installed. They will make the game run better, work better, crash less. They're just generally the best mods for the game, and running it without them will just be a very bad thing overall. Now, not all of these are going to be mods that you will easily install. The first one's going to be the 4GB patcher, which is going to be different than anything else you've tried to install. So once you have the 4GB patcher downloaded, go ahead and grab that, drag it over in here, and just launch that. There you go. It's patched. Press any key to continue. You can just close out of that. Now for xVNE. From here, just come in here, grab the asset, open that on up. You're going to take all those files, Find your New Vegas folder, grab them, pull them, drop them. Bam. Now you have NVSE loader, which allows script extension for the game and allows you to launch it better. MO2 as well, once you open it, can actually be set in the launcher settings to now launch with NVSE, which is what you're going to want to do once all your mods are done installing. Next up, we have the New Vegas Heap Replacer. This one's going to be a little bit weird. What you're going to want to do is go ahead and get the files installed, and you're going to have to do this one manually as well. Go ahead and launch a cpuinfo.exe, and it just says, hey, I've looked at your CPU, you need AVX2, that's the one you want. Come to here, AVX2, open this up, go back to your root install for New Vegas, drag, drop, and that's it. That's all you have to do. You just need to figure out which one of these you need by running the CPU info. I know it's a little bit weird, but it's pretty straightforward overall. Now the rest of these are going to be very straightforward. Nothing else should have shown up here, nothing should have shown up in plugins because he didn't really install it. The rest of these mods you'll need will be JIPLN NVSE, which you can just go ahead and hit Vortex for these from now on, which you have NVSEX. Johnny Guitar, which does the same thing. They both extend the script and allow more. KNVSE, which allows for custom animations and stuff like that. Be sure you hit slow download on all of these as well as you go. You want Stewie AI tweaks, you'll need the Tweaks Essentials INI, NVAC, you'll need NVTF, is New Vegas Tick Fix. Make sure you install both of these if you haven't already. They just make sure to do some different stuff. You need the Mod Limit Fix, Show Off NVSE plugin, which will have to be installed manually. In order to correctly install Show Off NVSE, you'll need to manually download it. Get both the Show Off INI and the Show Off NVSE files downloaded. Once you have both of those, you'll need to go to the file directory for the game. In your main New Vegas folder, go to your data, NVSE, plugins, and then you will want to get both of the show off files and put both of them directly into there. If you do not have a plugins folder, go ahead and make one. You'll need UIO, and if you didn't install Tale of Two Wastelands, you want Yukagachi unofficial patch. This fixes a monstrous amount of bugs in the game. Now, in order for each of these mods, this one increases the amount of things you can do with the script and increases stability. This one does the same. This one allows custom animation plugins so that you can install things like animation replacers or better gun animations, which we'll go into later on. This one has a bunch of quality of life fixes and tweaks. This one is the same. NVAC is New Vegas Anti-Crash, does what it says, makes the game crash less. Tick Fix allows you to run the game at a higher frame rate than the game was built with. Normally, if you run above 60, you'll run into issues. This just stops that. Mod Limit Fix does what it says. You can have up to 255 mods now, removes limits. Show Off NVSE plugin allows more stability and more things. User Interface Organizer allows more add-ons and mods that mess with the interface to work together. And the unofficial patch just patches a bunch of stuff they missed before. If you come to the download section here, you can see all of these mods, and you're just going to want to go ahead and double click. That's the name. Okay. And it installs them all. Go ahead and install every mod you just downloaded because all of those are ones you'll want to have. And check mark all of them here to say they're all working. Since most of them are just going to be plugins, they're not going to show up in here. They're all pretty much just plugins for the INI and things like that. Now we're going to check to make sure you just installed those mods properly. Hit tilde to open up the console commands. From here, we can already see we're on NVSE 6.2.7. You're just going to want to type in these commands as follows. Git NVSE version, which we already know. We're on version 6, so that's right. Git is LAA, should return a 2. Anything else and you have installed the 4 GB patch incorrectly, just reinstall it and you should be good to go. Is DLLLOAD loaded D3 D9 DXD 9 _38, and that should return a 1. Mine returned 0. All you're going to want to do to fix this, which I just fixed this a little bit earlier, I also typed it wrong, which is probably part of it. D3DX9 or 38. Never mind, return to 1. If it did return to 0, which it did to me earlier, you just want to go back, drag and drop the file right over again, and you're good to go. It's simple as that. Is DLL loaded? NVTF should return to 1. Is DLL LOAD MLF should also return to 1. That means New Vegas tick fix and New Vegas mod limit fix are all installed correctly, meaning you've installed everything correctly. You're good to go. If you just want to go ahead and play Tale of Two Wastelands or default Fallout New Vegas with no extra mods installed, you're golden. You can start from here, use this as like a baseline for a very stable version of Fallout to build upon, or you could just go install a bunch of stuff or install absolutely nothing else and just play the game and have a great experience, a great stable experience with both Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas in the Fallout New Vegas engine. Now there are a few other mods I'd install, but really at this point it's up to you. If you want a good first time experience with absolutely nothing extra, you're good to go already. If you want, say, a little bit more, I would recommend Jam, just assorted mods. It adds a bunch of stuff like a crosshair, hit markers, hit indicator, objectives, loot menu, hot wheel, grenade hockey, sprint, hold breath, bullet time, a lot. Most of those are pretty nice. Honestly, I really only use the loot menu, weapon, sprint, like these bottom ones. The top ones are more meh, but it's up to you. These are a lot of things that improve the game and just make it feel a lot better to play overall. Even for a first time playthrough, I'd say you're good to go if you wanted to install them. New Vegas Enhanced Camera just does the very most basic, makes it so when you look down, you see your feet. It's straightforward as heck. MTUI just makes the UI better for PC. That's it. It's also straightforward as heck. It just makes it better and easier to see. That's it. It's straightforward. The strip open is one that I would recommend if you have a very powerful PC. It gets rid of the markers indicating the lines between the strip. Now, there is one of these for FreeSide as well. I don't entirely recommend it if you're running Tale of Two Wastelands because it doesn't work, but otherwise it's very good to have. Populated casinos just takes it from being a couple people to all the people in casinos. It populates them, adds a ton of people. Really nice to have. It is intensive even on a more powerful rig. It's going to eat away at your frames. And then the mod configuration menu lets you edit all of those while you're in game. If you wanted to edit any of the mods or change anything, it's there, good to go. At this point, you'll also see part of the reason I recommended all those other mods before. Because if you want to install anything, most of them are going to need the other things we installed previously. That's just kind of how it goes. One of the mods adds a functional post-end game. Now, what that pretty much means is once you beat Fallout New Vegas, it ends. That's the end of the game. It's over. This allows you to continue playing after the fact. You'll actually see what you did change the way the wasteland is and allow you to go back and finish up other quests you haven't already finished. It's pretty cool. It's nice. I mean, if you wanted to come back and play stuff afterwards, it's great for that. It's great for if you just wanted to blitz the main story and then go do side stuff. Though it will lock you out from a lot of the side stuff because things are just going to be different based on your decisions and your choices. It's cool. It's fun. If you wanted to enjoy it, hey, enjoy it. Go do it. But it's not something I would say is really required for a first-time playthrough, or even something I would highly recommend. Play the game at your own pace and just save the ending for some big thing at the end. An ending. But it's really up to you. Make the game your own. With everything I showed you previously, you should be pretty good and able to just install everything yourself. You know where the downloads go, you know where everything else is. Now, once you're in game, you will have an option to configure the mods once you've installed mod configuration menu. So after Jam is installed, you may not want everything it has. You'll have a small menu like this where you can come in to enable or disable the hit marker, the objectives, which I typically disable, loot menu. You're going to want to adjust it all to your actual settings and whatever you prefer, but it's going to give you a good few things to play around with. So in the previous video I did, I went over different gunplay and different mods you can get to make the gunplay just feel better and how to improve that significantly. And honestly, I'm not going to do that in this video. You have jams, so you have some better overall feeling for the game, better sprinting and stuff like that. But there's so many different animation replacers, which is the main things that make gunplay feel better, that honestly, I would say it's more up to you. Just go look through them all, see what you like, see what you think looks the best and works the best, and check them out and run those, because really it's mainly just going to be animations. I would recommend Assure's if you want a quick and easy one. That one mod's going to overhaul the way all of the gunplay feels and looks and just make it feel a lot smoother, a lot bouncier, a lot more natural compared to other more modern shooters. But really there's so many options that you could just pick whatever works for you. And there you have it, guys. That's pretty much everything. At this point, you have Fallout 3 that you can play inside of New Vegas. You have a very stable, very functioning Fallout New Vegas. You're pretty much good to go. There's nothing else I would really recommend installing to the game, though I have a bunch of other mods you could go install if you wanted to. But at this point, they're pretty much good to go if you wanted to. So get on in there and have a great time with my favorite game ever made. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to help in the comments.